Hi, Aram.
Hey Larry,
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, and you?
Very well, very well. Well, to our viewers out there, we're going to have our second podcast, and it's going to be on something that you really are into. We'll be talking about well-being.
Ah,
Great.
a great topic.
Yeah. Well-being is it's something that really affects every single thing we do, our lives. So, we would like to get your perspective on well-being. So, for starters, how do you see it, well-being?
Well, well-being is a lot of things. It's certain physical things like diet and movement, sleep, but it's also emotional and it's also a state of mind. So when you have a good balance with all these things, then you have well-being.
Well, true. Emotional, that's something that, sticks out in my head. How do you attribute your emotion to
Well,
well-being?
on emotional, I would like to say two things. One is basically stress, and we have a lot of stress in our daily lives, and stress is usually caused by, being attached to outcomes in the future, and if those don't happen, we get stressed. If things don't go according to plan, we get stressed, or having to do too many things causes stress. So, combating stress is all about changing the way you view things and changing the way you're attached to outcomes in the future, and looking at things in a different way. And in doing that, you can remove stress from your life. Stress is also caused by multitasking, and I have to say that multitasking is a myth. It doesn't really work.
It doesn't, not for me at all.
It really doesn't, because every time we try to multitask, something loses. We cannot be doing 10 things at the same time.
Yeah.
We're doing 1/10 of each at the same
It's
time.
more, but it's like a control thing, right?
Yeah. So, doing one thing and being mindful on that, being focused on that, doing it fully, being fully present in that, is the way to go. But also, in addition to stress, I would like to talk about emotions generally, because just like we need to digest our food, we also need to digest our emotions. So, emotions arise and we need to digest them and to fully, work with them and find a way of removing them, letting them go out. So it's like things go in, things come out. If we hold them inside, they bubble up and they cause stress and negative feelings. So it's very, very important to digest emotions, to work with them, to be with them, and to work with them so that they can leave us.
Now you said something that you said, we take it in, it's like, we digest it, but at times letting go of the outcome, I think, is really the problem. So how do we put that in practical terms, actually letting go?
Yeah, letting go of outcomes is very, very difficult. It's one of the most difficult things I think we have to learn how to do. There are many ways of doing that. Sometimes even a walk in nature can help, of letting go certain things. Mindfulness practices, meditation, all these things help in doing that. And, it's something that takes time, and it takes sort of a mindset shift as well, how you look at things, which comes over time. Also with age and experience.
Age and experience makes the difference.
Always.
Always, right? Okay, now there's something you mentioned about being aware of your emotions, and something really important there is, being aware of your emotions means you have to be more self-aware, right?
That's very important, yes.
And being self-aware means being in a state where you're processing your feelings, you're acknowledging those feelings and appreciating them to some extent, and then letting go.
Yeah, sometimes it's very simple, if you're feeling some emotion, it can be anger, it can be sadness, it can be anything. There are many, many types of emotions. just sitting in silence and feeling that emotion without even judging it, just feeling it and even labeling it as to what it is that I'm feeling. It might be, it might come as some pain in some part of your body, or it might be a certain vibration in part of your body, and just, feeling that. And in itself, doing that is a way of working with that emotion. And with time, it sort of works itself out and away.
For me, one way I find dealing with emotions is like hitting the gym and working out there, because when I do, I actually realize and accept what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And also in the process, I make decisions and just go with those.
Yeah, I mean, letting go of steam is a great way as
Oh,
well.
boy.
It can be going and watching the football match in the stadium. It can be going and pumping iron and, really putting...
Maybe even screaming at the top of your voice.
screaming, shouting, dancing, singing, all these things, sort of movement helps to process emotions.
So for you, when did you actually feel, because anybody who knows you, I've had the honor of working with you and knowing you, and I see you as the Zen master. You're always calm and relaxed, and that's really amazing. You have that soothing energy about you. But for you, when did you feel you had to take that aspect of your life and make it more predominant, so to say?
Well, I mean, how did it all start? It started maybe around 10 years ago when I was attending one of my first yoga classes, and we were doing some breathing exercises, and I noticed during the class that with breathing we actually can control what's going on in the mind. The two are linked. So when your breathing calms down, your mind automatically calms down as well. And so, I've worked with that over the years, and there is some big truth in that. Breathing and the mind are definitely connected. And also, becoming aware of how your mind is working and how you react in certain situations. Usually we get angry with something and we react without thinking. It's called the flight-fly response. It's like a primal instinct that we have as humans. But it goes back to the days where, we used to live in the jungle and we used to hunt for food.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of risks out there, so we had to fight or fly.
Yeah.
Nowadays, we don't really need to do that.
You just go to the supermarket.
Some might disagree, but we don't really have to do that. But that instinct is, programmed in our DNA.
All right.
Now, in order to break out of that loop, we can cultivate awareness. And with awareness, we can see those feelings rising. And before we blindly react to something, for example, we shout at somebody or say something we will regret.
Road rage, maybe.
Yeah, road rage, a great example. We see a lot of it happening. So with awareness cultivation, we can catch ourselves before we get into that automated loop. Yeah. And we can decide to react differently.
True.
And we might decide not to react at all.
Yes.
So, it's always good when we have a situation that causes intense emotions.
Yeah.
To take a pause, to take a couple of deep breaths, and then we have a lot of choices.
Always.
What to do, how to react.
Always. Okay, now, because this really sounds really deep, and it's very interesting for people who are really into it. Mm-hmm. Now, we could have cases where, professionals, young people, who haven't had that, life-changing aha moment. But now you want to get into well-being and mind, body, soul. What practical steps do you think anybody can take to get into it?
Well, there are a lot of things we can do, and a lot of us are doing a lot of these things in any case. But, we can put some movement in our life. For example, if we don't already do that, we can do some movement. And movement doesn't mean, that you have to go to the gym every day and, pump iron for an hour, or, run for 45 minutes or something. It can be gentle movement. It can be going for a walk in nature or in your neighborhood. It can be doing a yoga class. It can be, whatever works with your body type. It doesn't have to be one way or another.
Yoga doesn't work for me at all.
Yeah,
I'm so stiff. I just can't even sit and cross my legs.
Well, yoga brings a lot of flexibility to the body that other things don't. I mean, it's you need to find what works for you. So movement is very, very important. Proper sleep is very important, because when we sleep, our mind is organizing memories, it's detoxifying from emotions, it's detoxifying from stress. So it's really, really important to get a good night's sleep every day. And the body loves routine. So it's good to have a fixed schedule where, what time you go to bed, what time you wake up. I know in a Mediterranean country with the Mediterranean lifestyle, it's very, very difficult to do that. But it's good to strive towards that. Then diet. Diet is also very important. We are what we eat.
True.
So it's good to eat lighter things that are not overly processed, things that are more natural. It's good to eat all the colors of the rainbow on a daily basis. So a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruits.
Meat, maybe, for carnivores like me.
Yeah, meat. There are various schools of thought on meat. But at the end of the day, you do what works for you. So there is no one right or wrong thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So, try to stay away from processed foods. If there are too many ingredients on the label, usually it's a warning to stay away.
Right.
If there are ingredients, you don't know what they are, stay away.
But the problem is you don't even know what most of those things are, anyways, right?
So, yeah.
True. Okay, so now you painted a very good picture, and I'm taking away some of those things, especially with regards to.
Sorry, and just one more thing.
Yes.
So we covered sleep, diet, and movement.
Yeah.
Mindfulness is the fourth area where any mindfulness practice or meditation, put in your daily schedule is
affirmations,
also a great
maybe.
Affirmations.
Yeah. So I think a great way, would you agree, is having a morning routine, starting your day right. You know. What is your typical morning routine, say?
I mean, the ideal morning routine, and one that I strive to have, and I don't always have it, I have to admit, is, get up, do your cleansing procedures, and then after that, do some mindfulness practice, some meditation or something. After that, perhaps some physical activity, followed by a good breakfast. And then you're ready to face the day.
Nice.
That would be, the perfect start of the day.
And now I'm just trying to picture your breakfast looks like.
Well, these days it's one of two things. It's either sort of overnight oats with plant milk, or it's a good old-fashioned American peanut butter and jelly on toast.
I love that. I do the oats as well, and actually I like to have like a banana, apple mixed with milk, and then have that on my oats, and some nuts. So I think
those are all great choices.
Yeah, very good, very good. Wow, very interesting. So now looking, back, if you had to bring your mind back, were there any things that you put in yourself that today, the Aram you are today, would advise a younger you not to do?
As a kid growing up, I was never really interested in sports much. So I wasn't getting a lot of physical activity, and I would advise anyone not to do that, and to have a fully play sports and do physical activity, be outdoors. So that's something I feel very strongly about. And also, have healthy eating habits from a young age, because what you learn at a younger age carries off with you as you grow older.
Right. Now, you mentioned a couple of M's that were very interesting. We talked about mindfulness, we talked about movement. Something though comes up these days a lot, especially in self-help industries, and is your mindset. How do you think mindset plays into all of this?
Well, it has a big role to play, because the way we perceive everything depends on what choice we make and what our mindset is. It's like looking at this glass and saying, is it half empty or half full? It's a mindset thing.
Yeah.
Mindset is very important. If our mind is always free and open, and not conditioned by previous experiences, and not sort of weighed down by conditioning, grudges, and all these things, then we have a good mindset, a healthy mindset, and we see things for what they are, and then we have a choice of how to react with those things. But if we are conditioned with previous experiences, we hold grudges, we haven't worked with our emotions, we haven't let go of things, then we have a very negative mindset, and that colors everything else that we do.
The very opposite of well-being.
Yeah.
True. Well, the thing about mindset, and what you said, something I was listening to some podcast this morning, and what it talked about is, even if you look into your past, it can either be a burden or it can be a school. So you can take it as a way of having learned something in the past that didn't work for you, and use it as a way to precipitate greatness for yourself or more learning needs, as opposed to weighing yourself down. So I think we need to learn how to forgive ourselves and forgive others, and just really be present.
I mean, you're right. We tend to be very tough on ourselves, very strict with ourselves. We don't forgive ourselves usually for mistakes that we have made in the past, and we cling on to those. Whereas, a better way might be to let go of what has happened in the past, let go of the mistakes, but just take the learning points with you. So, it's a good practice to ask every moment when something happens, what is this moment teaching me? And discard the experience, move away from it, but take on the learning from that moment and move forward with that learning point.
True. Really interesting. So there's quite a lot of things for us to learn, a lot of things for us to acknowledge about ourselves, negative, positive, and hopefully aspire to be better people. So what keeps you motivated and always being in that Zen space?
It's not a matter of being motivated to be in the space. It's more of a matter of for me, it's more my essence nature, my true nature, and over the years I've become more in touch with that. It's not a matter of being motivated to do it or not, although at certain parts of my life perhaps I was motivated. When I was overweight, I was motivated to eat healthier and exercise. When I was very stressed, I was motivated to do various practices to work with that. But now I would say it's more about being in touch with my essence nature, because at the end of the day we are that. Our true essence nature is existence, being, not becoming, but just being. And for me that's what it is.
Oh, interesting. So being will be like something like in the process, right? So the beauty is in the process. It's about making it happen, growing and appreciating that growth, and taking it in.
Yeah, I mean, there is beauty in everything and in every moment, and we tend to be busy becoming things most of the time, and because we are trying to become all the time, we forget to just be and enjoy the beauty of the moment. Enjoy the beauty of something. You know, when was the last time someone walked in the street and stopped to admire, I don't know, a flower or something, or notice something? There are a lot of beautiful things around us, but we miss a lot of those because we're busy always becoming something.
Chasing after something.
Yeah.
So is it fair to say, you know, the modern world we live in, the pressures of social media or trying to be successful, you know, in whatever context, puts that anxiety and pressure in us and takes us away from well-being?
In a way it does, yes. In a way it does. I mean, it's good to have plans, and it's good to work towards various goals, and but it's good not to be focused on the end goal, but to be focused on the journey to get there. So, you know, put in the work, but don't be focused. I know this sounds very difficult, but don't be focused on the end result or the end goal, but be focused on putting the work to get there. And when you're fully focused on the journey to get there, chances are that you will get there in any case.
True.
But if your sole focus is the end goal, then you will miss out
The in-between.
the in-between. And it's the in-between that is the beautiful part in most cases. Because, I mean, every time we strive for certain goals, you know, the goal can be a promotion, it can be buying a better house, buying a better car, but these things never stop. You know, once you have the promotion,
You want the next one.
it makes you happy for a few days or weeks or months or whatever it is.
True.
And then you start wanting the next one, and it's like a never-ending loop.
Yeah.
So these things are not what brings you the happiness. You know, these are all object referral things. So, you know, be mindful about your goals, be mindful about why you want certain things, and, you know, focus on the journey rather than the end goal.
Because one thing for sure is when you focus on the journey, you actually appreciate the process more, and you appreciate what you're becoming. You appreciate your being. And like you said, you know, if it's going to come, it's going to come anyways, but it's going to come because you've worked towards it, you deserve it, and when it comes, you appreciate it more. And it doesn't become the end purpose. It's who do you become, you know, throughout the journey in trying to reach that. Really cool, really cool. Do you have any, you know, final comments, something, advice to our viewers out there on well-being?
My advice would be, you know, to have a good balance with everything. Although I'm the worst person probably to say something in Greek, but there is something, a sentence in Greek, pan metron ariston, which, you know, talks about having balance basically. And, you know, you can't have everything fully, but you try to keep balance in your life, you know. And well-being for me is having a balance between, you know, movement, diet, sleep, mindfulness. And there are days that you will not be able to do movement. There are days that you will, you know, not eat healthy, and it happens to all of us.
Yes.
We all do that.
We have cheat days.
We have cheat days. We have, you know, we go on holidays. All these things, and it's good to have all these things. But try to overall maintain some balance, and that balance gives you, you know, well-being.
Good. So something I'm taking out of this is balance, being consistent and trying to get that balance. And if you are in a space where you try to always be well with yourself, I think generally we'll be better people and better friends, and we'll have a better society. So Aram, thank you so much.
You're
I
very
really
welcome.
appreciate it.
I
It's
enjoyed
good to
this
see
chat.
you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Hope to see you again. Cheers.
Sure.